afternoon, everyone. For those that don't know, my name is Alistair M. I'm President of the Baltic Council of South Australia and also President of the Lithuanian community. I'd like to welcome Dr. Richard Semenov, President of the Estonian Society, Ilse Radsens, President of the Latvian Association of South Australia, Gunter Rudzits, President of the Latvian Relief Society, Regina, Chair of the Women's Auxiliary, Mrs. Janina Bolis, OAM, past President of the Lithuanian community, and where are we? Mandy Paul, the Director of the Migration Museum, members of the Baltic Council, Estonian representatives Martin Kurvits and Martin Hoyle, Latvian representatives Jolanta Lusis, OAM, and Reinas Dances. So we're here today just to reflect on the horrific events of some 76 years ago, when the Soviet Union began the forcible deportation of tens of thousands of Estonians, Latvians and Lithuanians from their occupied lands to the Soviet gulags. The first mass deportation was carefully planned by the Soviets. People who were judged to have anti-Soviet attitudes solely based on their jobs, religious belief, or even where they lived were targeted. Soviet enemies were declared to be under arrest or subject to deportation without any legal process whatsoever. Now, this operation began during the night of June 13, 1941 and lasted for 4 days, where Soviet armed groups targeted houses and removed residents, including children and the elderly. The Baltic people, subject to this action, had no appeal and given only a single hour to pack. Some were shot on the spot, the rest were loaded into trains and bound for gulags in Siberia. The deportation from the 3 occupied Baltic countries of more than 40,000 people was the first mass action of its kind, following the secret protocols that were set up under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that made the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany allies. Thousands of those deported died on their journey, and fewer than half returned alive. Many were not sent to the camps, but left behind and were classified as forced resettlers. Many died of cold, starvation, and overwork. Now, I'm sure just about every Baltic family has been impacted by these horrific events, and that also includes mine. My father's brother, Machis, was taken away, deported to Siberia, never to be seen again. And it wasn't until I first visited Lithuania in 1991 to find my relatives that I found he'd escaped from the gulag but had been machine gunned down. And I can't imagine what my father felt finding this out some 50 years later. The people of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania are marking June the 14th as a memorial to those who were expelled and died. Now, this was held privately in Soviet times and now publicly after the recovery of our independence in 1990. They're now also joined by others who have pledged themselves never to forget what the Soviets had done. In fact, last year in Lithuania, to mark the 75th anniversary, the Justice Ministers of the 3 Baltic countries, together with their counterparts from Poland and Ukraine, issued a joint statement declaring that history cannot be changed or forgotten, especially because today there are still living witnesses of the crimes that were committed. Those 5 ministers pointed out that the Soviet Union, by this act, and others as well, sought to deprive people of their spirit and memory of independent statehood. One of the interesting facts of last year's Day of Memory was actually the visit of the Crimean Tatar singer Jamala to Vilnius, she actually met with the Lithuanian President, Dalia Grybauskaitė, and that meeting was actually condemned by a Russian commentator. The Lithuanian leader said it was entirely appropriate that the Crimean Tatar singer, who won the Eurovision contest with her song recalling the deportation of her people by the Soviet government, should be in Vilnius on the 75th anniversary of the first mass deportations of Lithuanians and other Baltic nations. This, in fact, was symbolic of the fact that Soviet crimes would never be forgotten. I'd ask perhaps if everybody stands now and we would just pay respect with a moment's silence. Thank you. Thank you. I'd now like to invite the members of the Baltic Council to please come forward for the wreath laying. Okay, we are now fortunate this afternoon to have with us the Latvian School Choir, so I would ask them please to now undertake their performance.
Latvian school children will sing 3 songs for you on this very important day. The first song is called Daugava abas malas, and it is about the areas and people of our country, and they are united as one. We will not be separated because we have one language, one spirit, one nation, Latvia.
Yeah.
song, Vildoing Skreja, is a folk song about going to war. Two brothers need to decide whether to ride and fight or whether to stay at home. We know that in 1941, many who were deported from their homelands were returned soldiers and their family members. Another folk song, Pia Dievin Garigaldi. It is about how the Latvian pagan goddess Vara lovingly offers all souls to God for safekeeping.
Thank you very much for that. Just finally now we'll have a Lithuanian song called Lietuva Brangi. It's basically Dear Lithuania. Thank you all very much. That now concludes our commemoration service. I'd just like to once again thank Mandy Paul and the Migration Museum for allowing us to host our commemoration service this afternoon. Thank you for that. Thank you very much to the flag bearers of each of the nations. The Latvian School Choir, thank you once again for helping us out with our service, and also the Latvian introductory music. Particular thanks also to the members of the Baltic Council. Thank you very much for all of your help in helping to prepare for this afternoon's service. Thank you all very much. We have now concluded our service. Thank you.